It's quiet along Israel's southern border for the first time in weeks now that Operation Pillar of Defense has come to an end. The ceasefire brokered by the U.S. and Egypt does seem to be holding up. Gaza militants have refrained from firing any rockets. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Ehud Barak are calling the operation a big success. Hamas, they claim, has been significantly weakened, and Israel's been able to restore its deterrence along the border, which they say will secure the safety of the southern communities. Israeli leaders congratulated the Army, Air Force, and intelligence units for a job well done. They boasted of bombing over 1,500 terrorist targets in Gaza and killing 100 terrorists.
I think we hit Hamas very hard over the last 8 days. We took out some of their most senior commanders. We took out their most senior commander. We've hit their stockpiles of weapons. We've hit their infrastructure. We hit their command and control. We've hit their arsenals of weapons. We've hit their launching sites.
Netanyahu decided to hold off on a ground invasion, saying he wanted to act responsibly and give the ceasefire a chance. But he told the Israeli public a larger operation may still happen.
And Hamas knows, they know clearly, that if they violate their understandings with the Egyptians, and they do in fact shoot at us again, Israel will be there, and we will very forcefully protect our people, as any country would if its civilians were attacked by terrorists.
The Prime Minister is giving Hamas a chance to change its ways, but should it fail to do so, Netanyahu hopes the gesture will have bought him the backing of the international community if he decides to go into Gaza later. Some political pundits say Israel succeeded in moving Hamas closer to Egypt and further away from Iran. It is the more moderate Egypt who mediated the ceasefire and who will wield its influence in guaranteeing its implementation. But others are far less convinced that Hamas may be shifting its alliances.
I don't see any evidence of Hamas having realigned itself with relative moderates. It's an organization that is hell-bent on destroying Israel, exploits every opportunity it can to bring in weaponry that has only one destination, which is Israel. If we see Hamas saying, actually, we're not going to try and rearm, then I'll start to believe there's been a real shift. I don't believe it for a second.
Not surprisingly, Hamas is claiming victory against Israel. They're boasting of rockets that hit as far as Tel Aviv and of managing to fire hundreds of rockets while under Israeli bombing raids. In reality, the Iron Dome missile interception system clipped Hamas's wings and stole its thunder. It shot down 400 rockets heading to populated areas, a more than 85% success rate. And Hamas doesn't speak of the massive structural damage done and the more than 150 Palestinians who died. But even with the military loss, some analysts say Hamas may have won an important political victory.
They're more credible in terms of this region's players, many of whom paid solidarity visits to Gaza. They've negotiated with Israel, albeit indirectly, without changing their avowed intention of seeking to destroy this country. I think more Palestinians will rejoice that they fired for so long and so far into Israel than Palestinians who will say these are terrible people who are bringing, ruin down upon the Gaza Strip again.
Hamas also won its fight to get Israel to ease the land blockade of Gaza, which is now part of the ceasefire agreement. The unequivocal loser in all this? Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. His authority has been undermined once again, with more Palestinians than ever rallying behind Hamas, who is now seen as standing up to the Israelis. The results of Israel's Operation Pillar of Defense will only become clear in the weeks and months ahead. Did Israel achieve a temporary lull in the violence or a longer-term period of quiet, perhaps many months, even years? The answer, of course, depends a lot on what Hamas leaders do next. Will they feverishly rearm with Iran's help, or will they, under Egyptian pressure, begin to temper their opposition to Israel and refrain from terrorist acts? Many people here in Israel are skeptical. They say they don't think they've seen the last of Hamas terror yet. Jordana Miller, JN1, Jerusalem.